Word on the street is that Brian and Erica are still debating today about if style can be taught or not.
I just think Erica is wrong. I don't care if she has a streetwear brand. I do like her brand, but she's wrong in how she thinks about this.
So what happened? I get on Instagram and I go through the comments and I see the exchange between you and Erica. And I'm making it sound like it's more deep than what it really was. Like it was some
So I'll
nasty
just paint the
beef.
picture. During the episode, we talked about should we overlook somebody based on their style if we don't like their style, which I think is no, of course. But I feel that people can learn style nowadays compared to maybe back in the day. And the reason why I feel that you can learn style, she has said like, oh, you're born with it, or you gain it over time. So it's like, okay, how long does it take for me to study how to piece the type of clothing that I want to wear together? And you can even see images and be like, oh, okay, so if I put that shirt with them jeans, that's kind of how it looks. Let me kind of imitate or mimic that style. And maybe you can put your own piece into it. I don't know. But there's so many outlets for you to look at, subscribe to, and tune into to be able to figure out how to piece things together. I'm not saying you're going to be the biggest stylist in the world, but you can be able to dress yourself.
Interesting. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Mean Podcast. I'm JohnnyKendricks.
And as always, this is your boy B.Rivers.
We had a game night last night. Shout out to the Mean team.
Man,
Yes, sir.
Very fun, man.
it was fun. And fuck both of y'all. For Cover Your Assets. If you guys don't know, we love Cover Your Assets, and that's where all blood is shed and no love is lost.
That's the Mean's house game.
Yes, and Sam beat the both of us. We all three of us still lost the game, but we made a side bet between the three of us, and me and John had to do 50 push-ups, which you guys may have seen on our IG story.
My only thing is that you guys aren't good.
John, I have more wins than you, and don't say I'm living in the past. I'm living in the fact.
Yeah, you lost the most recent game. That's the thing about making a statement like that.
But what I'm saying with the statement that Brian makes that's problematic is that that's all his references to. It's to what he's done in the past. He's literally living in the past when it comes to his game. and I have an issue with that. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
well, you know what? Let's take some more facts then. Last night we both lost to Sam and Kelsey, but I beat you. So now what?
Yeah, but it's not considered. Are you that type of person who takes a win that's not a win and you count it as a win?
No, it's not
that's what it sounds.
As a win.
That's what it sounds
It
like.
shows
You're
that I'm
doing.
better than you in that game.
No, it doesn't.
I'm more strategic.
A win, but you only get a win when you win the game.
I'm better than you. So if we're on a basketball team and we lose, but my stats are consistently higher than yours, am I a better player than you?
Consistently. Hey Sam, you look like you had a lot of fun at the game night. What was one thing you learned about someone who was there that you didn't see before?
I learned that B.Rivers is super competitive, man. My dude was fired up for every single game.
I come to win when game nights come around, bro.
That's a good question, though.
I play for keeps. Brian, anything from you?
that I learned.
What you peep? May is more lit than anyone.
May is definitely.
I don't think
lit.
anyone can match May's lit.
No.
She was
You
on
hurt yourself
another level. And she's already at a level that's too much to me. Mm-hmm. So just seeing her pass too much, it was impressive, but I was like, damn, that's crazy.
I learned, or should I say, I was able to experience two people on such an open-minded level. And what I mean by this is between May and her roommate, because they would be talking and what seems like they're getting into it, they're not getting into it. It's like, that was rude. And she goes, you know what? You're right. And then we move forward. And so like, somebody else can have that conversation like, well, why am I rude? So they were actively disagreeing and
it was very active.
It was a healthy conversation. I witnessed that. That was nice.
I think we all thoroughly enjoyed May and Celeste. If you two listen to this episode, we thoroughly enjoyed your guys' your back and forth dialogue.
Very healthy dialogue.
Very healthy. It was very resistant. It was very strong-minded. Said, well, actually, no.
It was, man.
No, that's not true. And I applaud. I think we all applaud
Yeah.
dialogue and conversations like that. Let's give it up for Celeste and May. Insert claps.
I think a lot of people want to be able to have that type of conversation or say that they do.
Yeah.
But until you actually see it on display, I'm like, I need to get there in general.
Yeah.
It's the battle of ideas, though. It's just like me and May had one of those. Or it's just like, well, what do you mean by that? And is these clarifying questions, and it's really just to gain a better understanding, or it's just to let someone know, like, well, that's not true. It's a battle of an idea, and it's good for people to have their ideas and their beliefs challenged,
Yeah.
so they could see a broader perspective.
One thing I think I need to do as well is make sure that I don't perceive someone trying to understand as a sign of disrespect. And what I mean by that is I'll say what I think. I'll say something and say why I think that and what has led me to that. And then the person keeps digging and digging. I'm like, all right, nigga, you trying to say I'm wrong? Like, say what you really trying to say. Because I'll let it rock for a minute. I'm like, okay, I need to just make sure I keep up that mindset. Like, all right, they're trying to understand where I'm coming from.
When someone keeps digging like that, it really proves if you got something in your bag or not. Because then you really have to go deep. Well, why do I really mean this? Or why am I holding on so tightly to this idea while it's being scrutinized? And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But if you can get through that, then you come through, you emerge with more confidence in that claim or that, you know, statement you make. So I think that's the good part about it, when you can do that.
Yeah.
And not every time you can. Sometimes that idea falls flat.
But what's the line between you properly explaining how you feel and why you feel versus them either not understanding or not seeing what you're saying? It's like, all right, bro, you asked me why I think the sky is blue. I gave you 3 reasons why I believe that. I gave you what led me up to those 3 different reasons. It's like you still digging. It's like, all right, am I not explaining or this person is just goofy?
Well,
What's the line?
well, are they going along a certain line of questioning, the way they start the questioning? So the questioning should be started in a manner where I need you to validate that the way I'm feeling about this situation is correct. So starting right there, like, I felt like I went about it this way and I had this tone. Did I do that? And once they validate it, then it's like, all right, now we can move on to the next level of scrutinization. But
But that's I guess it comes down to, like, why are they challenging what you're saying? Is it because they do disagree with that perspective and they think that an alternative perspective might change your mind, or do they think you're just wrong? Because I think a lot of times that person should be, like, the way they convey it, they should be trying to just offer an alternative perspective for you to consider, not necessarily for you to say I was wrong, but to say, I didn't think about that. Like,
or it should just be for them to understand you. Like, well, what do you mean by that? Oh, okay, and they don't disclose if they disagree or they do agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I had it where I was having a conversation with my girl, and I gave a reason or whatever, and reasons on reasons, which I thought I gave properly. She comes back with, "That's not enough," and I respond with, "Who are you to tell me that's not enough?" And then whatever. But it's something I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, I don't like that response. I don't like. So I'm trying to think around it. I don't like someone telling me that my response is not enough.
I just like, who do you think you are? That's how I feel.
My response is enough. Well, Sam, what's going on with these headlines?
we're gonna just do one today for the sake of time. I'm sure you guys saw this one. It was big news all over. A bunch of Redditors got together to, just pour money into GameStop, which screwed over some hedge fund titans. Do you guys think this is going to be significant, like, towards the future of the stock market? Does this change anything, the way, like, the top 1%ers are manipulating the market, or will this Do you think it's just going to be like a one and done thing, and then more regulation comes in, and this doesn't happen again?
This is a game changer. This is literally one of the biggest events to ever happen in our generation. Only because this doesn't just affect race, gender, and sex. This affects everyone because it is literally money. So, and that affects everyone. So the first way I think that the game will be changed is that there's going to be a crackdown on social media, because under the scope of Reddit, they label some of the Reddit page as an alt-right, far-right extremist type group. So under the guise of, watching out for hate speech, I think more censorship will come. Then with the stocks, I think more people just are distrusting of it now, even more so than before. They see how easily, like, the hedge fund managers in these corporations could literally just be like, well, okay, I see what y'all did. That shit's done. We're not doing it no more. You see how easily they could literally just snap their fingers. And I might take some stocks out.
Let me ask you, because you're probably a little more in tune with it than I am. Like, can you explain exactly, not like detail to detail, but can you explain what happened, kind of?
So essentially, what some companies will do is they'll get, hedge fund managers will get together and they'll choose to short a company. When they want to short a company, that means that they're basically just betting on the company to fail. Sorry. So they get investments from brokers, and with those investments, they buy a price point where they think the stock will fall to, and eventually the business will fail, and they'll be able to pay back their broker, and they'll be able to keep the difference. So what do they call it? The Wall Street
Bets.
Wall Street Bets. Wall Street Bets saw what they were doing, and since they were just betting on it to fail, the way stocks work is that when more people buy it, the speculation of it causes the stock to rise. So they chose GameStop, Nokia, and AMC Theater to just get a bunch of people on board with, and they all just flooded it with buying the stocks, and they held on to it. But what that did was it started making the hedge fund managers go broke, because it surpassed the price point that they thought it would be at, maybe like $5 or $10, and it's at like $500 per share.
Yeah, like because I kept reading up on it to see what happened and understand it. And I guess in layman's term, they were saying like, okay, if when you're what's it called, freezing a company?
Huh?
What is it called when what were they doing to a company? Freezing them or
freezing them?
No, maybe not. I forgot what term
the company
squeezing them or something like that.
Oh, squeezing, probably squeezing or shorting.
Shorting.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, they were like, okay, if I'll borrow a stock from somebody for $10, say a company. So say Starbucks. I'll borrow a stock from Starbucks for $10. I sell it immediately for $10. So now I have $10 in cash. I expect that price to drop to let's say it drops to $7.
Yeah.
So then I take that $10, buy that stock for $7, give that one stock that I owe them back, give it back to them. Now I keep that difference of $3. But when they bought that stock, the niggas on Reddit said run it up. Now it's up to like who knows how much money. So they just had to buy them back so they can give the stocks back to who they owed them to. And I kept trying to figure out, why did the Redditors want to do that? I missed that part of the story.
It looks like they just wanted to. They did what Wall Street does.
Yeah.
They won this. They took this small battle and they won it. They saw that this is how these companies make millions, and they did literally the exact same thing that these companies do. The thing that bothers me the most is immediately mainstream media finds a way to label them as, oh, they're extremists, so they need to be censored. They're all right,
Yeah.
so they need to immediately. This had nothing to do with hate speech at all,
Yeah.
and that's one of my biggest concerns. Besides the stock market, that's terrible too. Like that's pretty scary to see that at any time bankers could be like, well, they're making too much money on this, and if they don't sell this, they're just gonna they're gonna continue to lose money unless they sell it right now where it's at, which is bullshit as well. But yeah, man, that censorship it's a thing.
The first thing that I thought about, it wasn't even censorship first. It was thinking that, okay, these people on Reddit figured out a way to play the system against itself. Now I feel like changes are going to be put in place so they can't do that. They can't manipulate the market in that way. I don't know how you would change that, but I feel like there's going to be some type of regulation.
They already started. Robinhood prohibited the like buying extra shares for GameStop and Nokia. It's like, how can you guys do this?
Yeah, I think they started losing subscribers too. Like people started different because it was
I'm about to
Robinhood,
do-
it was Ameritrade, something like that.
Yeah,
And it
Ameritrade,
was somebody else. I can't remember the other.
maybe
brand.
E-Trade.
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
So I don't know. I don't even know who to go with now. I'm like, damn, what do I?
Yeah.
I think I'm about to just stop because it doesn't that
John said, I don't want to play no more.
For real, isn't it
Ball go
crazy?
home.
Isn't it crazy just how ridiculous the stock market operates in general? Because there was not people in there physically buying games from GameStop, but yet just because people are buying the stocks, the price is shooting up like that. And
GameStop about to go out of business too.
yeah, it's like, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just completely rigged.
I saw a funny meme that said GameStop stock is so high now they'll buy your game back for $2. Niggas, they used to be robbing us.
They used to give
For
niggas
real.
40 cents, man. Like, damn, this game cost $62.
I just
they
got
care.
it too.
I told you one time they disrespected me so much they didn't even take my game back. They said, "We ain't taking this." I said, "Damn, bro." It was like Madden, fucking 2010 or something like that. I said, "We good."
I miss them days.
Yeah, I know.
But this was probably one of the biggest outright crimes ever seen on a large scale. So hopefully this unites some people.
You said crimes
That was a flat out crime, bro.
for them to.
What everyone did was an absolute crime.
I'm saying if they already been doing that, it's like, well,
The bankers because now people see how
That's what they do.
that's what they do. They literally just
They got
control.
exposed.
They got exposed. It was like one of the biggest exposings that we've gotten to witness, and it's dope.
that's one of the good things I do love about Reddit, though. I feel like a lot of people don't use Reddit. A lot of people use Reddit, obviously, but a lot of regular everyday folks don't really know what Reddit is about. It's just like the main social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah.
But Reddit has a lot on there, bruh. Like you can go down some loopholes,
Man, you
Be on
really
the dark
do.
web.
No, I never been on the dark web. I think I always said that Reddit is the gateway to the dark web. I done seen some fucked up shit on Reddit, like, ooh, what is this? Because they even have quarantine threads that you only can get on your computer. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wait.
Some thread, you know how they have Reddit threads, each one that you subscribe to?
Yeah.
They have some threads that are quarantined, meaning you can't even get to it from your phone or nothing like that. You have to get on the computer to get to it.
Wow.
They had one. Now this is my friend showed me.
All right.
It was
I'm gonna ask you how you know.
because my homie showed me. My homie is a coder. And he works up in Silicon Valley. But anyways, it was a Reddit thread called "Watch People Die." I don't know why he was on
man,
this. He
I don't
told me
know
about
why.
it. I don't know. Yeah, and it was a quarantine thread. He said you can only access on the computer. I'm like, this is crazy. But it's just a gateway to the dark web, which I've never been on.
He probably be drinking cat blood.
It's not my business if he does. He's a cool dude, but he's been on the dark web. But we'll leave it there.
I wonder how dark the dark web is. That's a conversation for another time. But
I know it doesn't look like the regular websites that we know of. That's what he told me. He said how we put like, I don't know, google.com, it'd be like some weird shit that don't even make sense. And that'd be a website. But let's move forward.
all right, so we're kicking off February right now, and I know we've been progressing a lot in our relationship journeys individually. One thing that I am seeing a bigger pull now for, and especially because I have had this conversation with my girl. You tell me if you've had this as well. Let me just completely sidetrack real quick. So we'll have these conversations sometimes, and the things that I used to do, behold, I don't do them anymore. So
Change, man.
Yeah. So the conversation that I don't like to hear is like, well, this is stuff that you should have been doing anyway. Let me ask you right now, how do you feel about that? Both of you guys.
Like when you do something that you feel you should receive some praise for, she said you should have been doing it.
Let's say, for instance, this is completely hypothetical. That's a complete hypothetical. So you're in a relationship. You do not entertain other women. You're straight. Let's just say you're straight down the faithful road. You're straight on the narrow and faithful road.
Okay.
Right? And the conversation is turned into, well, look, this is what I don't do. Like I'm in this. I'm in this game. I'm all here. And it's like, well, that's what you should be doing anyway, so you don't get praised for that. How do you guys align with that sentiment?
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of do align with it. So if I'm somebody who has never cheated, and me and my girl having some issues, maybe she's feeling insecure, and she presents me with the argument that like, oh well, you ain't getting no praise, even though you said you've been to this place, this place, and this place, or these situations, and you haven't cheated or flirted with nobody. You're not getting no praise because that's what I expect you to do. Now, if I'm somebody who did cheat, and I told you, hey, this is what happened, I did not cheat. Like, come on now. I feel like that should be, I don't want to say praised, but man, maybe I should receive some type of accolades for it.
An acknowledgement.
Thank you, Sam. Acknowledgement. Like, all right, I see you. You're showing me that you're progressing. But if you've never cheated, we never had that conversation, and then you want praise, her or me, and I'm like, I'm not giving you no praise. And nigga, you ain't cheat. You ain't.
Is it looked at that this is the typical or standard behavior for the common man in general? Like, well, if you've never done this, then it's nothing to be praised. That doesn't mean that it's still not a difficult thing to not do.
I guess it would depend on how you guys define your relationship to start. Like if it is a monogamous relationship and those are the expectations from jump, then I agree with Brian. I don't think it should be necessarily praised. And
I think we're entering a different level or age of relationships now. I'm not saying for my relationship.
Say, explain.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we in the same age. Different dimension.
Just where it's quite a bit more fluency in how people classify themselves in relationships. Now, I know all this other stuff. None of it I am with. None of it.
He said, let me go ahead and set the tone now.
I'm not with it just because I don't see any benefit of like opening a relationship up to other energies of that sort. I don't see how that's beneficial. But I do know that I can see how other people aren't allowing themselves to be held to a subscription of how they're supposed to date.
Why do you think we are in an age, or what gives you the notion to think that we're in an age where we're more fluid with how we classify our relationships? Like, what do you see that leads you to believe that?
Just it's a couple things, man. And women can say whatever they want, but they be out here fucking.
So you saying they'll be giving you throwing a monogamous game at you, but out here fluid with it?
I mean, I just think women have gotten. It's hard. I don't want to generalize. It'll be very hard for me to not generalize, but I feel like women have been pushed to a space where their energy is not being matched, and they're kind of just out here, and they're like, well, like I said it before. They're like, well, shit, I'll be a man too then. Like if you like, I'm not blaming women for it.
No, I get you. It sounds like you're blaming men for putting them in a position where they feel like they have to think like a man or move like a man now.
Is it fair? Is it unfair for me to say that men put women in this position?
I don't think it's unfair. I do. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think that's unfair. I don't necessarily like when women are like, now I think like a man because, men did this to me. Now I got to move like a man. Like, I feel like that's not all women. I'm going to say that first and foremost.
Speak freely.
It's not, I am.
Speak
now,
freely.
I'm not trying to generalize, but I do think that you are compromising who you are or your own values or morals because of some wrongdoing that a man or men have done to you. You should still be yourself regardless.
Quick question. Not to change subjects, but to bounce back to something you said earlier about like, should men be applauded for not stepping outside of a relationship? Did you ask that because you think that monogamy is just a complete task within itself in a changing landscape of relationships? If that makes sense.
That does make sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
That's a good question.
Heavy laden question. So with monogamy, especially, I think it's important for people to understand that people are becoming more aware of alternative dating options. Mm-hmm. So I can see from someone's perspective, them saying like, well, yeah, under the confines of monogamousness, under the confines, you should be grateful for whatever I'm not doing.
Like you said, you're welcome.
You're welcome, for real, man, dog. And that again, I go back to Brian. Let me let you answer.
Well, that was for you, but I will say, I share some of the same sentiment in terms of relationships. People being more so open to a fluid relationship. I'm not saying fluid as far as like, I'm about to date men and women. They could do that too. Don't get me wrong, but
go ahead, pan it out.
Yeah, right. But just, I think people are more so open to open relationships or relationships that aren't as confined to monogamy because now they have other people and outlets to reinforce their thinking. Because I feel like people have thought about this, but it's so against social norms, it's hard to do it.